Just let your soul glow.
Welcome to the Soul Shift Sessions podcast, where we dive deep into transformative conversations that empower you to elevate your mindset, break through limitations, and create the life you truly desire.
Hosted by Coach Sapphire Star and Coach Kyle McLeod, this podcast is your go-to source for actionable insights, inspiring stories, and expert advice on personal growth, financial freedom, and living with purpose.
Each episode is designed to help you shift your mindset, overcome obstacles, and embrace a life of abundance and fulfillment. Whether you're looking to transform your relationship with money, enhance your well-being, or unlock your full potential, the Soul Shift Sessions will guide you on your journey.
Patty Mason has an accounting career spanning almost 30 years working for CPAs through 2018. She's licensed IRS enrolled agent, IRS certified acceptance agent, and a certified woman-owned business. Patty's passion is to serve society not only in the tax capacity, but also harness the growth of financial wellness. As a woman entrepreneur who faced many adversities, she seeks to lead women to forge their financial futures. Patty has successfully saved numerous clients thousands of dollars in taxes, ensuring their organization is the most advantageous tax structure. Patty is a Rotarian and a board member to serve charitable organizations in Central Florida. Dr. Patty is a wife, a mother of two incredible boys, and who loves traveling and staying active in her spare time. Welcome to another episode of Soul Shift Sessions. I am Coach Kyle McLeod, and I'm here with the illustrious transformational coach and financial coach, Sapphire Star. And I am here with, we have a special guest in Dr. Patty Mason. Welcome, welcome. And Dr. Patty, it's been a minute trying to get you on this show. But we got you here.
That's the truth.
We got you here finally. And I just want to say that the audience doesn't know like the relationship that I have with you because you've been doing my taxes for a little while. But the reason why I had you do my taxes and the reason why I gravitated towards you so quickly was because you showed that you knew how to help entrepreneurs with their taxes. And having kissed many frogs, no one that I met approached our financial literacy as well as an entrepreneur quite like you. I am very fortunate to have you in my life. So thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Absolutely.
Sapphire, you also, this is like your space, right? Like you are the financial person in this relationship. You have helped me do a couple things and learn a couple things, and you give me some homework. And I haven't filed all the homework because some of it takes two, right? Some of the homework takes. And but the one thing I appreciate about it is that the way you come from a financial literacy point is that you're always like encouraging and building up, and you don't make us feel like, how come you don't know this stuff already? Why are we having this conversation? So I appreciate that approach that you have. And I have been looking forward to having you both on the line at the same time. So given the fact that I am the least financial literate between the three of us, I'm going to pass the ball to you, Sapphire, and ask you, where do we start with this conversation?
Absolutely. I love that. Thank you, Dr. Patty, for coming on and blessing us with your experience, your knowledge, and sharing your story with us. I would love to begin with, telling us a little bit more about yourself and how you got and why you chose to be in this profession.
Oh, what a great question. Thank you so much for having me on. This is such an awesome opportunity to share and spread good news about financial literacy and financial freedom. Some people don't know, some people know already, but I'm an immigrant to the United States. I'm actually Hungarian, and I grew up in Southern California. When I was 17 years old, I got the awesome opportunity to work for my cousin, who's actually a CPA. There's many CPAs in my family. There's like three of us, and then I'm the enrolled agent, the federal license. But in any case, I started getting mentored in public accounting from a very young age. And growing up in Southern California, in Newport Beach and Irvine, I had the awesome opportunity to balance checkbooks of multimillionaires. And they were in their older years. And so listening to those incredible stories of success, for a 17-year-old, 18, 19-year-old, I was such a sponge for information. When I immigrated to the US, we lived in poverty. And when I had the first opportunity to go to my cousin's house, who was a CPA, and I saw that incredible mansion that I perceived at 13 years old that they were living in, something clicked in my mind. I'm like, wait a minute. So if you do have access to capital, this is how you can live versus not having access to capital. So something in my young brain clicked and said, okay, well, you know what? This is how I want to live. So what will it take to get there? So I saturated myself into the public accounting industry. I saturated myself into small business owners. And somewhere I fell in love with the journey of from nothing into something great. And so, in that process, learning from so many incredible entrepreneurs who have reached success, I accumulated a wealth of knowledge and information. And throughout my career in public accounting, when you couple that knowledge with taxation and you get your degrees in taxation and accounting and leadership, when you marry all those together, you become a very a well-rounded practitioner, knowing everything from A through Z, everything from starting a business to exiting a business to setting ourselves up for retirement. And that's where it started.
Yeah.
Wow, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. And I love what you said because obviously on the Soul Shift Session podcast, we deal with transforming your mind, transforming your life, and overcoming limiting beliefs. And I love that as a young woman, you were exposed to something that planted a seed in you to believe and create the actions to create the results in your life. Absolutely love that. I'm reading this book now called The Magic of Thinking Big. And I really believe people underestimate the power of our beliefs. Like Kyle always says, a belief is something, a thought that you keep thinking. And so that is such a powerful concept and what we're talking about today. What advice or what have you done in your journey that really help empower your mindset toward money? And were there any challenges along the way that you had to overcome, even with the exposure as a young immigrant in America?
Oh, what a powerful question. And I got so much to say about it. So here we go. So I come from a substantial line of trauma. From a young child, I realized a lot of abuse, all the way to watching my parents, a lot of physical domestic violence, getting to the point where I was physically assaulted. I was almost killed, really 9 months pregnant with my son. And so I've been through a lot as a young woman by the time I was 20 years old. And I don't get too much emotion about this anymore. I used to, but when the pillow was on my face, I made a promise to God in that moment that if my life is spared and my son, I will commit my life to serving God's people. And whatever that meant, in whatever capacity that meant, that was my last prayer before he took the pillow from suffocating me off my face. So when I got up in that moment, I wasn't crying. I wasn't upset. I didn't say anything. I got up and I walked away. 9 months pregnant, mind you. So in that moment, I made a decision. As a fixed person, I'm a very structured and disciplined person. As a fixed person, I knew what I had to do. I had to figure out how to get out of this situation and start my journey towards whatever that was, recuperating from the mental and emotional abuse, recuperating from my past, and creating a complete paradigm shift from the traumatic victimized mentality to an abundant mentality. And that took me several years. So when we're talking about soul shifting, right? When we're talking about how to reposition yourself from the negative side of your life that you endured into positive optimism and drive, I made a commitment to my faith in that moment and I never looked back. So, what happened since 20 years old? I raised my son into a professional basketball player. I put myself through 3 college degrees. At 41, working for a CPA firm, I got let go for being pregnant with my second son. So, I had another setback to start all over again at 41. And then by 45, I decided to open my own. Well, at 41, I started my own practice. So I've been in public accounting 23, 4 years at that point. So I've had my business now 6 years. My son is 6 years old as of Saturday.
Oh,
So I've started my own practice. So I was propelled into business ownership 9 months pregnant with nothing. So I was left with nothing and I started this business with nothing. I happened to have a very strong husband that gave me strength to say that, you know what, you can do this. Yes, this is tough and, you're emotional, but cry it through and get up. Let's go. We went, then we started going to, networking events, 9 months pregnant. I stood up in front of hundreds of people to say, hey guys, don't worry. I'm not going to pop right here, but I'm your new accountant in, Claremont, Florida. So the point is, I've gone through so much adversity. There were so many setbacks that could have, taken me and kept me into that victimized mentality. But I truly believe that mind control is the greatest commodity a human can have. It took me, I read several books between the time I started my own practice until this moment in time. I read the book of Napoleon Hill. I read the book of Steve Covey. I read the book of Atomic Habits. I read that book. So I started reading books to grow my mind and also began watching or listening to mastermind classes on business, entrepreneurship, leadership. So I have a complete burning desire to succeed. And no matter what circumstances that I faced in trauma, the belief of living a financially free life, the belief, the drive, the passion, the burning desire to achieve in spite of setbacks was so much greater for me throughout my journey than anything anyone can do to me. So having that along with my doctoral journey has completely led me to this absolutely unmovable, unshakable woman.
wow. We can end the show right there.
You know what? I have another meeting that I have to go to.
You know, for okay, guys, thank you so much. Mine is blown, and I'm telling you, I have chills right now. So many thoughts were going through my head when you were sharing your story, but it's so powerful because you're being vulnerable, you're sharing your experience is definitely going to unlock something in someone else's head who may be struggling and going through something in their life and they feel like all is lost. But you sharing your story is just powerful. And it made me think about one of my favorite quotes. And I put this on my high school graduation invitation is by Albert Einstein. In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. And that is something that I carry with me through my challenges that I've had coming up in life. And like you said, adversity, because how do we navigate those things without giving up or feeling defeated or feeling deflated? So thank you so much for sharing that. And I also read Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. That is such a good.
Yes. What a great book. What a great book because people don't understand that book is not about money. It's about the mindset. It's how you can become a proactive thinker. How can you achieve mental stability that will lead to emotional stability that would absolutely reach a point where unexcusably, unapologetically, you will live your dreams. You will accomplish your goals. You will achieve every desire you could have. I have no limits. Guys, understand that we put the limits on ourselves. There's nobody in this world that puts the limits on you. And in spite of the leadership in this country, in spite of whatever's going on, the opportunity is there. It's your responsibility to embrace and find those opportunities that best serves your purpose. Be a purpose driven person. Be a purpose driven person. Do a soul searching that would absolutely achieve a purpose driven life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I see so much selfishness in this world, so much self centeredness. And why? If we were intended to be the only human beings on earth, if it's only you, if it's only me, who would we serve? Understand that we need one another to survive, to thrive. And when we develop the collaborative spirit,
Yeah.
Mm.
I love humanity to a fault. I really do. I can't stand y'all sometimes, but the point is that overall, I truly love the concept of service. I
Mhm.
love the concept of seeing, just like you,
Yeah.
when we see someone not doing quite well, my first instinct is how can be of service to you that will get you to rise up. I want to see people rise up to the best version of themselves.
Absolutely. There was something that you said earlier about one, the starting from nothing, and then
Yeah.
two, about how your husband was like, go ahead and cry. And now it's like acknowledging, not passing over how you feel, not making you wrong for how you feel, but also letting you know you can't afford to just stay in your feelings. Like you
Absolutely.
have to move forward. Like you have to have some kind of action after that. So that was I it led to a question though. And my question is, in the context of a limiting belief, in this process from you having to, and I'm particularly interested in when you had to start over with your second son. What was the biggest limiting belief that you had to overcome? Because you're starting all over again. And I feel like people who are in their 40 somethings, a lot of them are starting all over again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's more of us than not. So, what was it? So, one of the things, I'm an extremely emotional person in the content of when you violate me as a person, when you do injustice, when you treat someone wrong. I feel like what happened to me was unjust. And I think that hurt me more than not having a job at the moment. I think I felt really betrayed in that moment. And I think I was in that moment a little longer than wanted. But granted, 9 months pregnant, you're very emotional anyway. But you know what was the most important element for that shift is when my husband said to me that you can do this. And I think in the emotional moments, we don't realize that we can, in fact, do this. We can, in fact, rise up from the
Yeah.
ashes. This is why I truly believe that as a person, how I define myself in terms of a phoenix,
Mhm.
because every time that I fall, it's not a matter of time. It's just a matter of a moment of time to cry and be like, "What the heck, dude?" That victimized kind of mentality. I feel like I've been in it 48 hours at the most because I know at the end of the day that I got to rise up and move on. And that is a mental thought.
Yeah.
Remember that everything in your life is a state of
Yeah.
mind. So if you stay in that emotional frame, you're not really thinking about, I can't stay here too long because I got to rise up. The mortgage is coming. I have to pay those bills.
Stuff has to be done.
So it is, and yes. So a lot of times society tends to spend a lot of time in emotional state of mind rather than a logical state of mind. And I feel like that is the strength I gained from the doctoral journey and having read those books that taught me about, the mental state of mind and how to rise up, how to toughen up my mind and have my mind overrule my emotions. I got to tell you guys a quick story because it's extremely relevant.
Okay.
Being pregnant, having Anthony, my little one, when I gave birth to him, I had a severe case of postpartum depression. And I mean, severe case. And I called friends and I was trying to see like, how can I get out of this? It was horrible. I'm a very loving human being. To have these kind of thoughts was just crippling. I'm like, this is not who I am. And once I've uncovered the symptoms of it, and people were trying to tell me, well, there's medicine, you can take some drugs for it, you can, go see a doctor, whatever. I'm not that person. I'm a Western medicine person. I will do a remedy before I put anything in my body. But I realized that I'm not going to take the medicine route. I'm going to talk my way out of postpartum depression. I took my faith. I started praying. I started opposing the negative thoughts by telling myself, I am not this. I love my children. I love my family. I love my husband. I love my life. I love my life. I love my life. No, I love my life. It is a learned behavior, but I've single handedly talked my way out of postpartum depression. The state of mind is huge, guys. It's huge.
It's almost like you just fit right on in because these are the things that we've been saying, in regards to thoughts. Now, one thing that you sparked a thought for me, which is about the logical versus the emotional. And I personally lived like a long time on that logical side. And it wasn't until recent that I actually started paying more attention to the emotional side. But
Well,
using
yeah,
it,
same.
yeah, but using it more as a guide, in other words, if I'm experiencing a negative emotion, then I know that's connected to a negative thought. So then what's the negative thought that I'm having and what is there to shift in that? And oftentimes, and I love what you said about, that you single-handedly took it on yourself, but you were going to do it basically with your words. And
Yeah.
the words, like Star and I had this conversation about affirmations and how I, I'm on the side of the affirmations that you use, they have to be believable to your body, right? In other words, like yours was like, I love my life, I love my family, right? These are things that your body can accept. Like, I love these things. Now, if you said, I am ecstatic about the way I feel about my family right now, we know that your body's gonna be like, stop lying. Right? Stop lying. Cause that's not how we feel,
Yes.
right? But I do
Yes.
love my kids and I do love my family and I love my husband, I love my life. These are things that the body's like, all right, well, we can love those things, but we not liking them right, which is a very different type of conversation. And so I like to say that we can build momentum, right? So I can go from I feel X way and is here. And then I can say, come up with a whole nother set of words that are just slightly better or vibrate on a higher frequency than
Right.
what I was currently experiencing at the time and just keep moving up that scale. But I don't think that I've ever done what you've done, which is single-handedly deal with it. I mean, I definitely dealt with things in the dark and dealt with things by myself. But for me, I had to have these different processes in place, which basically you did as well. But I
Right.
also had a few people that I could talk to. I always stress like you got to have that one person in your life that you can talk to that can hold what it is that you're dealing with. And they may not have to feel what you feel, but they will be there with you in that dark place. So it sounds like
Yeah.
you had
Empathetic.
all those
Right.
things. So that's awesome.
I did. I literally told him, take the baby. I'm dealing with some
Mm.
issues and I'm gonna have to deal with this. But to your point about the how you feel and how to tell your mind, what we have to work on diligently is allowing the feelings that are manifesting here,
Mhm.
clean those up. So basically, there's a disalignment always, almost always in a mind that is not to a point of stability because there's a disalignment between your spirit, your heart, and your mind. There's a disalignment. But the alignment should never come from your mind to your spirit, but from the spirit from the mind, because the love, the passion, the goodness, the joy,
Those are in the
all
mind.
that.
Those are not in the mind.
No, they're in the
Right.
spirit. They're in your soul. So a lot of times, when you're love, when you're in that love energy, your mind will come in and try to destroy that.
Mhm.
So we have to work on how to align what comes from our hearts with our
Yeah.
mind. How do you align that? So I know the relationship between the negative energy, the devil, and the positive energy, which is God. Let's pretend for me that's who it is. There's the devil on this shoulder. There's the good angel on this shoulder. And this is metaphorical, but it's real for me. I know when a thought comes is not of the spirit, is not of God. So I instantly know to say, no, that is not what it is. The reality is A, B, and C. Guys, you know what we have to do is overrule the subconscious mind. See, your subconscious mind is derived from your paradigms. And whatever those paradigms that you haven't resolved yet, you haven't gone through the entire process of resolution, your subconscious mind is going to overrule a lot of your conscious mind,
Yeah.
a lot of the realities of your current
Yeah.
circumstance. So it's so important, like all the trauma and everything that you've ever endured that is not creating a healthy environment in your mind and body and soul. We have to have a resolution. And the way I resolved it is I literally had, I'll never forget, December 2015, I had a metaphorical bonfire. Everybody that violated me, their name in that bonfire, everybody that, that hurt me, that abused me, that everything, I forgave. And the forgiveness is not about everybody else. Forgiveness is you to be able to overcome. Furthermore, forgiveness is not necessarily for the guy that hurt you, the gal that hurt you. It's for you to forgive yourself, to hold on to something that you should never have defined you because it wasn't you that did that. It is not for you to own someone else's behavior.
Correct.
So why are you holding on to something that had nothing to do with you? So when you understand why certain things happen to you, most recently, I heard someone say, make your mess a message. So, how can you resolve these things and create the opportunity to create a message so powerful that will help people come out of that same kind of pattern of
That's why
behavior?
we say everybody has a story.
Mhm.
Everyone has
Everybody
a
has a
story.
story. Everyone, everyone, which is so great. In the sense that everyone has a story so great that in so many ways we're so much alike.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
so many
Yep.
ways, we're so much
Yeah.
alike. And so that's another reason why we have to have these kind of, events, occasions to network with one another, talk about hard issues with one another so that we can reach others and see how we can help shift those paradigms into a more productive thought process.
Can I
Wow. Eh, oh,
Very
I wanted I wanted to ask, first of all, I was not expecting us to talk so much about the mind when we started this conversation, but I'm grateful we did because this question is really about, now we've talked about so much metaphysical or non-physical. How does it show up with your clients? Or I know you have an event coming up that we're going to talk about. What are some of the behaviors that you see that show that their mindset, their spirit is in a disalignment?
Oh, that's such a great question. Well, in the past, 29 years, I've had the awesome opportunity to serve a lot of small businesses as they became my passion throughout the years. The number one behavior pattern is spending and the frame of mind of the scarcity concept where I got money, so let me just buy this, buy that, buy this, commingle funding, different kind of things like this that shows a pattern of behavior with money that is just not productive. And this is probably the most prominent problem that I see in small businesses. So that's the physical behavior. I tend to be, as you well know, a little bit more on the advisor side. So when I see this behavior, I have conversations with people and say, hey, listen, you're in this, 30s to 40s kind of age category. You're spending money that you don't need. And so how can we look at, correcting some of this behavior? I'm not a stickler for not living your life. So if you want to do a little extra, take an extra trip, I'm not against that. But I'm for creating a framework, a plan for everything. Plan for your needs, plan for your savings, plan for your retirement, plan for that big trip, plan for things so that you always have. If you blow it all right now, you're going to wake up at 50, 60 years old, no social security, no retirement, nothing. So I start having these hard conversations every time I see that pattern of behavior, but it's there and it's
Yeah.
prominent.
Sapphire Star, I know you had something you were going to say. So can I say same question, or or do you want to go ahead and say, I'm going to give you the option?
Okay. Just reflecting back on some of the things that you spoke about, and I love the reframing where you were going through your challenges with postpartum and how you created a reframe to shift your beliefs and your mindsets to create those actions and results. And so you broke that cycle that was developing in your life that could have very well ended a different kind of way. And I love also what you said about the collaboration. I always say this with my clients as well, like collaboration over competition. Like we can do, there's a saying that you can go fast alone, but we can go so much further together. And,
Yes.
I literally just met you today and I feel so connected because our stories are so aligned in such a way. I'm like, wow. But listening to you also is very empowering because there are certain areas of my life that I've been shying away from being vulnerable about. That there's some things I'm like, yeah, financial, teen mom, all these things. I'm like, because I felt like I've gone through them and I healed through those things. But there's certain areas that I'm like, but you sharing your story has definitely empowered me to be more vulnerable, to be more open, to help other people that may be going through the same challenges and let them see that there's light on the other side. Like I always say, representation matters. Our
Absolutely.
story matters, our story empowers. So it's very important that we navigate through those things. And to answer your question, Coach Kyle, I'm the same way with my coaching clients. I coach personal and small business finance, and I do the same thing. I have a formula, I have a framework. I call it my no plan do. And so I deal a very holistic way of dealing with money. I delve deep into the mindset. I know some people start with the action, but I start with the mindset because I understand fundamentally the mindset is what impact the action, like you spoke
That's where it
about.
The
starts.
mindset is how we
Yeah,
got here in the
like you
first place.
Yes, how you spoke about spending, the spending, all those debt, those are symptoms of something far bigger and
Deeper.
far greater.
Yeah.
And so with my clients, I start with the no mindset, plan, creating the plan, and then executing and making it happen.
Mhm. Well, that was juicy. That
Fantastic.
was nice. You know,
Delicious, as Nicole says, that was delicious.
delicious, delicious. For both of you, one Sapphire Star about the vulnerability aspect, about how you're saying going to be more vulnerable, and Dr. Patty, you've always been vulnerable since I've known you. Like you will say the hard things, right? Like you'll say them. But the thing about your stories is not being afraid to share exactly how you felt in that moment. Like whenever I'll hear like speakers, they'll talk about the experience or they'll narrate the experience. But now if you talk about that experience like we're living it right here, right now, and you're describing to me like how you're feeling and I'm seeing it on your face, like that takes the person who is living the same story, it takes them and lets them know there is something on the other side of the experience that they're currently having, that there's freedom on the other
Interesting.
side, there's happiness on the other side. And so I appreciate the times we're in right now because I am seeing more speakers not afraid to say the things that they were embarrassed to say.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's I don't want people to know that I had a kid when I was a teenager. when I was 14 years old. I don't want people to know that. But you share that, and it lets that person
And for
know.
me, you know what it
Go
was?
ahead.
You know what it was for me, Coach Cal? It wasn't even about people knowing. It was I didn't want people to have an opinion
Yeah.
about my life. I didn't want people to be like, "Oh, you shouldn't." I was, you know what? I'm not even gonna talk about because the reality is that was my life. That was what I was going through, and that's what I went through. I don't want people to feel like they can inject themselves or express an opinion or project.
Mhm.
And so that's what kept me a long time from even sharing my story and being transparent.
Yeah.
But God told me, He said, listen, your purpose and what I have for you is far greater than your fear of being vulnerable, your fear of being transparent, your fear of people feeling some kind of way about you, and that was a people pleasing thing. I didn't want
Yeah.
people to think a certain kind of way about me or whatever. I want, to create this thing or whatever, but also them not wanting them to have it either. Don't feel like you can have an opinion
Right.
about it.
Right.
God definitely delivered that,
That's not your
helped
thing.
me. Yeah, like, it definitely set me free to be like, "Oh, I can share my story unapologetic."
Yeah.
Can I add to that point? Can I add to that
Please, Dr.
point?
Pat.
So the Yes, so the reason why I have no bones about talking because I don't care to be judged. See, the thing is, once you achieve this mental strength and this emotional resolution, I really don't care about what people think of
Yeah.
me. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to tell you what it is. Judge me. I don't care. So that comes with an absolute resolution. If you haven't resolved this,
Yeah.
and I'm also a people pleaser, but I know how to put a line there. People pleasing in the sense that I'm going to serve God's people with my gifts and talents I was given, not with who I am internally as a human being in the sense of to be judged.
Right.
I don't put myself on the platter to be judged. If I'm standing in front of 1,000 people, I will tell the story. I will not pick any bones about it. Walk away, judge me if you want to. Because here's the thing, we don't live our lives for the purpose of what people think of us. We live our lives when we're completely resolved. We live our lives to become the best version of ourselves for us and for others. Because, see, if I am completely resolved in every single way, I can serve you with the optimum quality of what comes out of my mouth, with my compassion, passion, and love for humanity. And I have zero care how you judge me because you didn't walk in my shoes. You didn't know what it's like to be suffocated to death. You have no idea what it's like to be raped and beaten. And you don't know what that's like. And if you do, you wouldn't judge me.
Correct.
So shame on
Right.
anyone that passes any judgment or opinion towards something they didn't experience or have nothing about. Shame on them, frankly.
It
I have
happens.
no problem saying that.
It's unfortunate,
But
but it happens. Yeah.
it does.
It's
It
unfortunate. Yeah.
happens. And so resolve the shame, resolve the guilt, resolve those things that is holding you back of becoming the absolute optimum human being that you can be, and pick no bones about it.
Right. Right.
Wow, like, this is really making me emotional. Like, it really is because, like, what you say, complete resolution.
Complete.
That just unlocked something in my head, you know what I mean? Because there's still sometimes lingering things. So when you say, like, complete and just complete resolve, that is just man, I feel like
I'm
I'm
ready
just
to hug you. I wish you were here for me to hug you.
I'm
Hug
just
you.
that much more powerful in, like, sharing my story because the shame for me was being in abusive relationships and, like, how did you let yourself go through that? But I got this from Lisa Nichols too this year, so I keep getting these messages and confirmations to no shame, complete
No shame.
resolution. Yeah,
People don't get it unless they're in it.
yeah.
You're in it. For example, if I'm with this guy, he almost killed me. I stay with him. I had brand new baby. I had the baby. and you were abusive, you were having affairs, you were doing all these things, but when I challenged you, you broke my finger. So people don't get it when you're in it. When you're in it and all you know is abuse from men, how do you have the mechanism in your brain to walk away? It's not a question of logic. It's a question that's all I've seen my entire life. Is there something different here? I don't know. I don't know that. But let me say this, guys. He came and he did apologize. He did change. He said, in tears, I'm sorry what I've done to you. And that is also a sign of growth. As humans, we have to understand something. And that's where my compassion leads, is the fact that we all are children, a product of our environment. And we are who we are because of what we've been through. So love one another. Stop judging. Be compassionate towards one another, because we don't all have the mechanism to survive something. We don't have the mechanism to get out, just get out. We don't have that sometimes in those moments.
Right.
It takes a year to overcome and then come back to and say, if I would have known this, now what I would have known then, like then and now, and kind of resolve that or understand that bridge there. So have compassion for yourself.
Sapphire and I said the
Love
same
on
thing.
yourself.
Sapphire and I
Yeah.
said the same thing, that,
It,
if I knew now what I knew then, is like, to me, it's the setup, because
it is.
I could not be where I am if it wasn't for that stuff that happened back
For-
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Correct. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is why we must always, and I invite everyone, come from a place of compassion for one another. Come from a place of compassion, get the facts, and then judge for yourself. Get the facts. A lot of times we are condemning people and we don't even know,
Yep.
and so this is why I've resolved this. Complete resolution is critical. Find your self-love, find your forgiveness, find your self-love, find your self-acceptance. Furthermore, we're human beings. We're imperfect. Love that about yourself. I fall short like all the time. I tell people every time, don't never start a sentence. I know that wasn't proper English. Never start a sentence. Do you remember? Because I'll tell you right
I
now, I
don't.
remember absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So tell me what you want to say, because I won't remember. So we're imperfect human beings, but love yourself for that. I love who I am from the bottom to the top, inside out. I love who I am, and no one can tell me anything. It's not from a place of pride or arrogance. It's from a place of resolution. I am a victor of my circumstances. I'm a victor over everything, and I will not allow anyone to move me from that state of mind. I will not allow it. Help me help you become this empowered. Help me help you overcome. Help me help you become the best version of yourself. I'm here for it.
That's so
Like,
awesome.
so many gems. So many gems are just being dropped. I do have a question for you as we're coming to the end, but I do have a question for you now in your life. Like, how do you balance? Because you talk a lot about faith and family and commitment. How do you balance faith, family, and finances now?
Ooh, what a lovely
Mm.
question. How do I balance? I'm a very strategic person. I literally have a calendar that has mapped out everything from my workout to my family time to my writing time to my work time. And I always provide self-care. I have a day at the Ritz with the girls. I have, do my nails, my whatever. I allocate time for that. I am fortunate that this stage of my life, I have an incredible husband. He's my support system. He allows me to be who I am without any regards. As a wife, I could do better and I will do better. I'm committed to do better. As a mother, I can always do better. I can do better, but I'm working on it. I'm consciously aware of my responsibilities, what I have to do. I'm also a business owner. I have employees. I have that responsibility. So it's all about a schedule, having everything scheduled out for yourself. My whole entire finances in one Excel database. I have everything organized. I know exactly where my money goes. I know exactly everything about everything. I'm an investor. I have properties, managing those. I'm also a published author. I just had my book published about financial management mastery. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. It is an incredible book. It's very powerful about the mindset, about that burning desire to succeed, how to overcome, it's a really great book. And I've decided that these books I write are quick reads, 30 pages, 35 pages, quick reads, but they're a punch in your gut, get your butt moving. Here's how you do it. Let's go, let's get
Yeah.
it. So
Yes.
it's that kind of concept. And I have my event coming up, Women Forging Financial Futures. We didn't talk
No,
about
we're
this,
going to
but
talk
I'm
about it
as
right
actually
now.
Mrs.
Right
Florida.
now, we're going to talk about
Oh, okay.
it right
Yes.
now. So,
Well,
yes.
okay,
So,
okay.
let me
God,
do it
time
properly.
out.
I'm going to do it properly. So, Dr. Patty,
Do it.
what do you have going on right now? And tell us about what you're up
I love you. What I got. So I hope I answered your question about having
Yes.
work structure. I'm extremely structured and I have, everything structured out. My day, my every single day from at the time I wake up to the time I go to bed is structured out. Deviations, fun day, Sunday, but different things. What I got going on right now is my event. So I am Mrs. Florida Woman Entrepreneur International 2024. I have a couple months in reigning. My platform was Women Forging Financial Futures. I want to help women rise up financially. And I know you can appreciate this, but I want to help women rise up. And I want to just, my leadership style is servant and transformational. I want to transform people's minds to success. So there's a lot of people before me. I feel like I'm taking the baton of Napoleon Hill and Covey. I'm taking the baton and I'm passing it forward. I really want to help women rise up because if, as women, we master the art of finance, we're a better partner for men. And then I want to have sessions for men as well because it's a different kind of thought process for men versus women. And
Yes.
I know that thought process too. I want to do this so bad. My event is on October 19th here in Central Florida in Orlando, downtown Orlando. It's 45 women. We're going to come together. I have a wonderful, catered food and then pink and pretty. And I got little financial books for everyone where they can take notes. It's just going to be such a lovely event. But I want women to love on one another. I want to achieve collaboration, not competition. And I want to talk about, as women entrepreneurs, one of the most important things I do with my clients is I make them do business with each other. So if, I got a painter, I got a client that is a real estate agent that's selling a house, want a painter, I'm going to send them my painter. And then that real estate. So I make them do business with one another. I want to see businesses thrive. So right now, the other thing I'm doing, I'm writing my second book.
before that. Is the event
Yes.
full? Is the event full or any more?
No, not
Okay.
yet. The event is not full yet.
So, if someone wants to attend the event, where do they go?
Yeah. Excellent. You go to www.wflc.com/events. Go down to the bottom of the page and click on get your tickets. It'll
Awesome.
take you to Eventbrite. That's where you get your ticket.
Okay, awesome. Now that we've had that, because I want to make sure that the
Yes.
people who are watching this, our community has been growing. And I'm sure that there
Yes.
are plenty of men and women. However, men, you are out of this particular one because this is a female only event. I'm
Yes.
sure that the ladies of our audience would love to be able to come to your event. So I wanted to make sure that we tell them.
Everyone, I want to sell this out. I want to do another one in 30 days. I want to do this. It's not for me.
Yeah.
It's for you.
Yeah.
I've arrived. Like I know where I stand, but it's truly for the girls. I really, with all my heart, I want to be part of helping women rise up. And I'm not saying I know everything, but I know enough on how to achieve financial freedom. And come on, girls. Come on.
Book 2.
Let me teach you.
All right, let's talk about book 2. I'm ready. I want to hear all about it.
Okay. Oh, you guys are gonna be blown away by this one. So One of the things that happen to me on a regular basis is a phone call, a referral that says, I'm ready to start my own business. What do I need to do? And, they try to do it themselves, but then they make a mess. And then I have to, fix that mess. I decided I'm going to write a manual, A through Z business success. And in that manual, I'm going to have, this is how you set it up. This is where you go. This is the form you need to fill out. It's going to be A through Z, how to get your business on the right foundation, how to manage that business to success, the leadership style you need to have, the team recruiting, what you need to do, how to diversify revenue, how to create investments for yourself, how to get your business to success, and then how to retire financially free.
And where can we find the books? Is it on Amazon?
It's on Amazon. So Financial Management Mastery is already on Amazon. And the second book I'm writing, so hopefully that's going to come out probably after tax season, if not before tax season next year.
Are you accepting new tax clients? Because I'm an entrepreneur and an investor, a real estate investor, and I'm like, man, I need a new accountant. So I'm like,
I am. I'm still accepting.
I'll be reaching out.
All right. Well, as we are coming to the close, this is the part where Sapphire does a magical job of keeping me on track. So, with that being said, Star, you have the floor.
Yes, this is one of my favorite parts of the Soul Shift Session podcast, where we just kind of do a rapid fire question. And I'm going to shoot out a question in maybe 1 to 2 minutes. You give an answer. And so I'm just going to jump right into it. And it's okay. The first question is, how do you let your soul glow?
By being who I am naturally.
I love that. I love that. What's your favorite quote and why?
I can do all things through Christ Jesus who strengthens me because it allows me no limits.
Amen. Amen. And lastly, if you did a soul search, what's one lesson you learned that transformed your life?
I finally believe that I have no limitations.
Wow. Wow. So much for just sharing your story, sharing your light. So many gems were dropped here today. And
Yeah.
listen, if your soul wasn't shifted,
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know what to say because my soul has been shifted. Coach Kyle, what about you?
Hey,
Has your soul been shifted?
it has been shifted, okay? Because I knew that it was going to be magical. Because I know Pat, right? But,
I had no idea.
I purposely didn't tell you anything about her.
Me crying.
Good tears, good tears, good tears. Oh,
It was like a great meal, Sunday meal. That was it. You know,
Yes. Yes.
that's it. Very full.
Yes.
aw, thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here. And these are the subject matters I want to talk about. Yeah, I'm a tax expert. Yeah, it is what it is. I can help you on that. But ultimately, I want to be part of changing your life.
Yeah. And part of changing your life is shifting that mindset. And it's like, if I can get in your mind
Yeah.
and I can transform that, then I have done the work because the rest will
Yeah.
take care of itself once your mind has.
Yeah. It'll fall into place.
Absolutely. Opens a portal
Right.
to the limitless. Once you get there, everything else just naturally falls in place the way it.
Absolutely.
So definitely thank you so much for joining us today. Just finally, where can people reach out to you? Where can people connect with you further if they want to go deeper with you, Dr. Patty? Please share.
Oh, awesome. So my website is www.masonaccountingservices.com. Our phone number here is 321-335-4400. If you really want to get a hold of me, my business cell is 407-488-3706. I'm extremely responsive. Kyle will tell you.
Very much so.
I have a servant's heart. I lead with love and compassion. Money will always follow the faithful.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And as always, please like, comment, share how this episode has shifted your soul. And if you know someone who can use a soul shift, please share this episode with them. We thank you so much for joining us today. And we look forward to connecting with you in the future every Wednesday on our YouTube channel, Soul Shift Sessions Podcast, where we transform your mind to transform your life.
Good night or
Thank
good
you,
day,
everyone.
good night, good afternoon, wherever you are.
Where in the world.
Have a good one, y'all.